Hello everybody, I'm back today with Christian.
Hello everyone.
Christian sent me a picture. What it is on the screen right now is an 8-sided star, which seems to be part of the picture that you sent me. It's all to do with what Indians was it, Christian?
Yeah, the Navajo.
The Navajo. Anyway, I'm going to put the video on now, but because Christian can't see what's going on, when the picture of his picture comes up, it's in a moment, I will mention it just so that we can stop there for a moment and talk about that. But, so, it's 8-sided star.
Yeah.
So anyway, it's all about hope and knowledge for the Napa, what was it again they're called?
The Navajo.
That's it, the Navajo people. But to me, there it is. Now that's the picture Christian sent me. It is quite an amazing picture, isn't it? That the Indians would want to put the cross in the middle and stuff.
Yeah. Very symbolic.
Because the rest of it's not like that. You know, the little spike things, the little people, the people and everything, they all look like the Indians, but the cross looks like, well, it belongs to something else.
Yeah, it's what caught my attention is it's more or less like the Union Jack, isn't it? Because
yeah,
you've got
let's
the
move on
cross.
to that. I've got a picture here, Christian. So basically, last night I made this video, but then I've been speaking to Christian again. There you go. So there's the Union Jack. He just reminded you of the Union Jack. So you sent it to me, didn't you?
Yeah, directly.
Because now you're wondering if there's a connection with this whole thing we're in with these Indians.
Well, to me, that's the appearance I got straight away. Why would they have a rug that looks more or less like the Union Jack? You've got the cross, and then you've got the X, and then you've got the side.
Just to show people, cross. Some people don't see it. Cross, and then Chris, cross, Chris, cross. Just in case people didn't see it, but do now.
Yeah. And they've got the 4 winds. They've got the swastika of hope. Good luck.
When we were looking at this last night, I'm going to put the video on now, Christian, because I say it's 15 minutes long, so we've got to talk. When we were looking at this, it just reminded me of Enoch.
Yeah, ancient knowledge, isn't it?
Yeah. And also the star map, because the star map fits in the into the Union Jack.
Yeah, it's what got me thinking about the 8-sided star. You know, directly I'm thinking, well, they'll wear the 8-sided star, and it's the Union Jack has more or less 8 sides when you point it out.
Okay, and what it is, and where do they live? They live, what was it, in the 4 corners? That's what they said. And I was like, oh, I need to look this up. What does that mean, the 4 corners? But it means those Indians live between Utah, Colorado, Arizona, and New Mexico, and they call that the 4 corners.
Yeah.
Just showing a picture here on the screen as we go along. So because that's what they keep going on about. They come from the 4 corners.
And I remember doing a bit of research on this and what the Union Jack represents. The Union Jack represents that the Queen commands the 4 corners. Isn't that uncanny?
Yeah, no. Also, yes, it is. Also, just to show, these are a lot more. These are paintings. They are sand drawings, aren't they? This is what this originates from. Sand drawings. But the one thing that they do have in common is they've got feathers everywhere, and they do like birds, but they're not quite the same as the Roman Empire. But we are wondering, aren't we, Christian?
Well, whether it connects to another age, because the eagle seems to command everything, doesn't it?
And also we know that they didn't start where that land is, where they are now. They didn't start there. They originally, like in the 1500s, they were coming from. And then what it is if anybody is aware, you can go to North Russia, and they're all wandering people with teepees, and it's the same as these people. So Indians are like Eskimos, really.
Yeah, like the Inuits. Yeah, we know that the Inuits travelled to certain parts of the world. You know, when you look at the Inuits, they're more or less of the same tribe, aren't they? But yet far apart by the miles.
These drawings, they're sand drawings. I do think in them they've got this Enoch part to it.
Yeah, and I think it's got to do with migration of where they're actually originally from, and they've carried on the knowledge from previous times with them, and that's why they have these drawings.
Yeah, you were wondering if they were more because we're obviously maybe more connected to them, didn't you?
Yeah, in the past.
Oh, the Roman bit, you mean?
Well, yeah, this is where the eagle comes into it. Wherever we've done research, whatever we've looked at, there's always that eagle that comes back. It's like it haunts us with all the research that we've done, going back through the ages. We know that the Romans carried the eagle into battle and into wherever they went, they carried the eagle with them, didn't they? And that's one of the things that's in America as well, that they've got the same emphasis on the eagle. Even today's government, they've got the eagle. And yet, these are Red Indians that do the same thing from a different age. So I think this is what it's connecting the old Roman Empire to the new Roman Empire, and to the Roman Empire we're in today.
It's not quite the same as the double eagles and like the double what do you call it? What's the Egyptian?
Phoenix.
How the phoenix can remember the phoenix always has its legs out and its wings out. They're not quite like that, but they do have feathers. They do have something to do with that picture that Christian sent me. Is a bit ironic how close that is to the Union Jack. Or I did say to you, was that Ezekiel's wheel? Oh yeah, and there is also the swastika part of it, which I've got some pictures in a minute. But do you think that's Ezekiel's? Oh yeah, and also these people wear the eagle. So that's different because all the other eagles have their legs out with things in, but these people are wearing the eagle. They are the eagle.
Well, they carry the knowledge. I don't think I know part of it is to do with the spiritual aspect, but like you said about the Ezekiel's wheel, that's part of it too, and it's ancient knowledge, isn't it? And I think that's what they're carrying forward with their rugs and their sand drawings. They're carrying older knowledge forward from a catastrophe, and they were the survivors. From the race.
They said there's about. I think they said there was something like 230,000, or maybe it was 330,000. But when you imagine how long they've been here, that's still not a very big civilization, is it?
No, it's not.
I mean, we get that much in one town, don't we?
Well, yeah. I mean, we know that throughout history that the Indians were persecuted for their land, with the newcomers coming in with the Christian age, apparently, and throughout the last 200 years they've been decimated and thrown to the four winds, basically, and that's probably why the Navajo are scattered to the four corners of the states.
Yeah, also just to say that in those paintings, obviously the symbols have meanings. So that's what that was about. I was just showing it, and this is they like blue, they like blues and other colours, don't they? That's it. Natural yellow, white with green undertone. Yeah. So I just put.
It's almost like. It's almost like
399,494, which is a lot of people, but that's not. That was in 2021. That's not a lot of people, is it?
No, but it's like they call them the third world as well. We know they're the indigenous people, but they do carry knowledge. I don't really know what makes them indigenous because they were the originals.
But what I find really weird is that really what they are is that they are the same as the ones in Russia that go around the back of Russia with their teepees. They're the same as them, and they've come down. They've obviously come to however they've got there. They've come down from Canada and into America, but they obviously they're in hot places now, but they obviously came from cold places, and with their teepees. And they're nomads,
yeah, well,
and so they've changed the Indians have changed their location because they're now Indians.
Yeah, I mean, in Britain we'd call them nomads, and the Tibetans, they more or less travel like nomads, from place to place with the four winds and the weather and nature. So basically, that's more or less how the Indians themselves lived, isn't it? You know, living by nature. You know, the spirit of nature.
Yeah, but I don't think, guys, that maybe they are Eskimo.
Well, when you think about it, they all look very much the same, and I think, but what is to do with this, and I think that's exactly what it is: migration, the migration of people, and I think that's where the Union Jack.
I'll stop that for a second. Carry on.
The Union Jack and Ezekiel's wheel. It's like old information, older than what they know. You know, they're just carrying it forward into time. You know, we know a lot of cultures carry their information by word of mouth, you know, throughout the ages, and that way it doesn't get lost.
Anyway, just to move on, because obviously Christian can't see what's happening on the screen. Don't forget, there's a video going the whole time we're talking, Christian. On all the videos, when we make videos, there's always a video playing in the background. But anyway, this one was a bit, because I was like, 15 stars in a ring? What's that? The Union flag, all that. This is to do with the Cook Islands. And also, Hawaii has had our flag in their flag. And they said it's all to do with maritime things, but that's a load of rubbish, isn't it? But here we go. What's this? We're going a bit onto flags, because originally when Christian sent me that picture, he thought it was more linked to the Union Jack, didn't you?
Yeah.
So that's why there's a little bit of information about the Union Jack. That one's about the flag of New Zealand, and there are certain countries which fly the Union Jack still. But I was really shocked on Hawaii, which obviously is American now. It used to have the Union Jack in its flag.
Which means it belongs to Britain. And it probably still does.
Oh, dearie me.
I mean, most Americans think that America is America, it's the free world, but when you look what's happening there now, you begin to realise...
You know, when you look at the colours, red, white and blue, and England's red, white and blue. So is America, so is Russia, so is everywhere. They're all part of the same thing.
Yeah, one nation, the four commandments, isn't it? Or the four corners, as you said earlier.
Yeah, and then also in this bit, Christian, that we're getting to now is where I looked up, because I started to try and find out, you know, about the Union Jack, remember?
Yeah.
Which is quite incredible. So it seems to me that they started to fly the Union Jack when they were on boats, not when they were on the land. So it only meant something on the ocean. And then it became part of the national flag. But that's why it's called Jack flag, because it's all to do with the maritime side of it. But why would you be flying the flag in the water and then adopt it as your national flag? It doesn't make sense, does it?
I think it's to do with the power struggle of, I don't know whether it's two powers, but to us it seems like it is that there's two ruling powers in this world, and we know that the Union Jack commands a lot of it, and whether it's the royals or whether there's a clash of two royal families that fight each other, and this is what we're under. But it's like at one point it belonged to them, and at another point it belonged to us again. But in today's age, I think it's all the same. You know, it's still under the Union Jack. I think the Union Jack still commands it all.
Well, there are still quite a few countries flying the Union Jack in their flag, but they can't really get away from it because they're part of the Holy Roman Empire. You know, whoever they all are. I've done that video where if you send me a flag, I'll roughly tell you where they are in the Roman Empire, where they are on the star map. Because it doesn't matter if they've got a crisscross, cross, triangles, lines. It all means the same thing. Union Jack and the ruling it's got on it from motherland. I just find it incredible, Christian. Oh yeah, very quick. I'm going to stop that for a second because we talked about this last night and we're going back to that in just a second. But I just find it quite incredible. I just find this all quite incredible that this little tiny island with this queen who owns everything is running everything.
Yeah.
And Christian, now we've got onto the black and white Union Jack. Remember that one? It's all to do with mourning.
Yeah, and we talked about the fact that the Roman Empire, which was supposed to have desisted in the 1500s or collapsed as we know it, but we know that that's not the true case, is it? Because the eagle's still been flown here, there, and everywhere, and just recently all the Union Jacks being carried by these countries have darkened, so they're mourning. Is it because we've lost our royals?
Oh, I see. I'm just going to stop that there on the Black Union Jack for a moment. Right, so everybody's in mourning because I reckon the Queen died a while ago.
It's got to be something like that, hasn't it? Because when I listen to AB, and when I come across about 5-6 months ago, the Union Jack on the police's uniforms is darkened. It's not the original.
But that's because they've changed all the uniforms because we're supposed to be leaving the European Union, though, isn't it?
I'm not so sure it's got. Well, when you darken something, you're in mourning. Like we know that Queen Victoria was.
But anyway, this one says it's got a blue line in it. That's the police side of it. But I just wanted to know what the Black Union Jack meant.
Yeah, it's got to do with mourning, isn't it?
It says mourning.
So the world is in mourning because the crown or the coronis, it's gone. The crown is not the same anymore, and there's a new boss in town. And I've been saying it for over 6 months.
I still think the Queen's, because like they got around with the Queen. So basically, they said, she doesn't own, say, Windsor Castle anymore, whichever one it was, and instead of her owning it, like say as the Queen, it's the monarchy owns it. So she still owns it. They just slightly changed the wording legally. So
Buckingham Palace.
Yeah. So she still owns. So the monarchy owns everything. The monarchy is the top of the Roman Empire.
Yeah, and who are the real monarchy? This is what we
Well, there aren't any, are there? Because they're all. I mean, I did one the other day on Prince Monaco, and when you actually take his head off, he looks like a woman.
Oh.
Yeah. Anyway, let's move on, Christian, because we said 15 minutes, and we're going to be longer. So we're back to the Cook Islands again, because I thought that was quite interesting that the Cook Islands. It just seems really strange that everybody wanted to adopt this Union Jack, and I just can't see why they'd want to do it. What do they say? Bugger off and leave our country alone.
Well, it's the same thing again. It's about conquering places, isn't it? When you look at
because I've just sent you a link, which you haven't watched yet, of this guy explaining that there was no big invasion. There haven't been any invasions. We were all living peacefully then. And that castles weren't what they said they were. They were storing stuff.
Well, when you put your flag on
makes sense because, Donington Castle looks like most of it's under the ground. Most of it is under the ground. Well, they would be storerooms. So they were for putting the goods out. Nothing to do with capturing people and killing them.
No, but when you put your flag on a place, it's like you become the owner. It belongs to you. It's like in the moon landing, they put a flag on there. Yes, we claim the moon as ours. This is how these people operate. When you put their flag on there,
that's
yes,
so
it's
funny
ours.
If they did that, Christian. The moon is ours. Yeah, you can have it then.
No, take it. Grab
take
a bit
it,
of
have
cheese.
it. It's yours because you've never been there. Anyway, we're just going through a little bit more because again, but we just went back because I was just picking up bits of information as me and Christian were talking last night. We've got a few more minutes to go as these pictures come along. Let's just wait for the next bit, see if the next bit comes up. Right, here we go. What's this? This is about the Union Jack. So it's flags put together. It's amazing that they were. Imagine if they'd had a pig, a dog, and a cow. They'd never been able to put them together, would they, Christian? So it's all to do. It had to be everything had to be right about the flags to put them together.
Yeah.
So anyway, just to say, because you're a bit shocked about that, but so it said the countries which are flying the Union Jack are Australia, New Zealand, whether that is Tuvalu, and the Fiji. Also, Fiji is a republic unlike Australia and New Zealand. These are countries flying it, but there are quite a few flags with the Union Jack on it, more than this. And that means they're part, we know what they're part of. They're part of the Roman Empire. This is the Roman Empire.
And one thing I've come across is that certain countries want to break away from this empire or the Commonwealth, call it what you will, but in recent years, they did just want their own rule, don't they? They want to go back to what they were.
Well, I don't blame them. I want to get out of this Roman Empire. I want to get out of it.
Yeah. Become their own sovereignty.
It's coming to an end now, Christian. I very much appreciate you sending me that picture. It's quite amazing, those sand paintings of the Navajo people.
Well, it's shocking the fact that they did it in the form of the Union Jack. You know, that's the first thing that I thought, oh my God, they've got the Union Jack.
Or is it the Union Jack has adopted something of theirs? Because, you know, it's all got to be the corners of everything, doesn't it? The corners of everything.
Yeah, it's hard to establish whether their work is older than the Union Jack or the Union Jack is older. I think it's probably their work is more original than the Union Jack. And I think the Union Jack was hijacked.
Well, everything I think used to be nice, Christian, and it isn't now.
Yeah, you feel the same as what I do.
Let's go back to that picture.
Something went awry in our past, and that's where we are today, isn't it? Because we're trying hard to establish it of what it was that did go wrong.
But it is a bit strange that they've got this cross. This is a really old. These sand paintings are really old. Look at the stick people they're drawing, but in the middle is this Union Jack. But thank you for that, Christian. We haven't really found the answers, but we've talked about it.
Okay.
Anything else you want to say?
No, that's fine.
Excellent. Thank you, Christian. Thank you for your time.
Okay. All right. Goodbye, everybody.